Hello, all you amazing folks out there. How is it going? How was the start of our week? We are off to a great start. Things are hitting hot and heavy already. We are going through this week guns a blazing, as I like to say. So, this week we're talking about having clear and concise language, right? Words have meaning, and you want to make sure that you as a leader and you as a team member or an individual, you're projecting the right message with the right tone and with the right words that are going to really express what you're trying to do or get after or the message you're trying to convey. There's a lot of factors that go into this that you should be really kind of thinking about. You know, the one thing it's hard to control, but the proper words and emotions can control is your perception, right? How are you being perceived and how do you perceive yourself in the message you're delivering? When we start talking about written communication, that plays a big factor because you don't get to see and hear the emotion that's in the message itself. So when we're writing those emails, we're writing those text messages, the words may not have the same impact that they would if they were spoken because you're missing out on the body language, the facial expressions, the tone of voice, and that whole other dynamic of the messaging that goes into speaking versus writing. So we want to make sure that we're using those proper words that really convey the message we're trying to get across and we're putting in so people don't have a doubt. We don't want to leave leeway out there. We don't want to leave misunderstanding or leave it too vague that it's open to too much interpretation. That can be a dangerous thing, especially in business or especially when relationships are concerned. Because if the wrong message is perceived or understood, there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of miscommunications, and that's when people could get hurt, things can go awry, and it doesn't really work out the way you want it to do, right? So, part of that now is building into that clarity of our message. What are we actually trying to convey? Those of you who've worked with contracts, you're going to get one of two kind of contracts, and both of them probably drive you nuts. You either get contracts that are very vague, so everything's up for interpretation and argument, or you're going to get contracts that are so locked down and so tight, excuse me, um, that there's no wiggle room in there. So people are like, well, that's not what it says. Black and white says this, and this is what I have to do. And it kind of misses out on the implied tasks and the little supporting tasks that would be part of that if it were a little, more open and a little more loose. So just something to think about when we're putting language in things, especially in our business and our relationships, right? So really what we want to get at for this week, and I want you to practice with your teams and your bosses and your peers and everyone you're coming into contact with, both whether it's physically or whether it's virtually via a video conferencing system or even just an email, right? Really think about the message you're conveying and what words you're using and what verbs that go and play into that. You know, going back to the basic school of your nouns and verbs and adjectives and all that, right? We want to make sure that we're using the proper words to convey the message and what we're trying to convey. We want to be clear and concise. We don't want it to be jumbled and lost, and we don't want it to be so vague that people can't really interpret what you're trying to get at, or so strict, unless it needs to be strict, that there's no wiggle room and people think, oh, if it's not this, then therefore we can't, right? As appropriate for that. Sometimes you have to make things so strict, safety is involved in people's well being. So, want you to think about that. Want you to practice it for this week and let me know how it turns out. Let me know where you guys need help, what we could do to make it better. Love talking with you guys, seeing what's going on. We have a few more great messages coming up for the week, so really excited to get out there and really let's make ourselves a little bit better each day and help our teams grow and deliver what is supposed to be delivered. All right, guys. Always here if you need me. Always happy to help out where I can. Stay good.